Good evening and salutations, our soap opera fans. So, this man needs no introduction. Mr. DC Soap Sanctuary, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm here. I'm here. I'm excited to be here on. I call this channel now Bostic Enterprises. In my mind. What is it? Ruben Enterprises and Demand Enterprises.
It's really good to see you again. It's really good to have you. Just doing it live again. I know you've been super busy, crazy busy.
Yeah,
How's everything been going?
it's been going good. I mean, I obviously miss coming on, but I'm trying to be a whole Kevin Collins out here, so it's gonna take me some time.
Yeah, no, definitely that definitely comes first. But since you've been missed has been it's an understatement. So
And I mean, at least I didn't miss what happened on Monday when the special guest came through in the chat. So I was happy to see that.
yeah, that's still so surreal. What's good, everyone? How's everyone doing tonight? Thank you for joining us. Um, yeah, that's still super surreal. Like I'm not gonna lie, like even after like the live is over, it took me like a good hour and a half to go to sleep because I still was just like I was still just so amped up or whatever you want to sit there and call it.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, and I said this in the live stream before. Like, I started off doing this with a really crappy phone, bad audio, bad visuals, and everything like that. And now it's like I'm doing live streams. I'm getting famous people in the chat. I'm enjoying the ride. Let's just put it that way.
Maybe it's Maurice Bernard will be next.
Maybe, or maybe somebody from Days, YNR, I cover them all, so all is welcome.
You're right. You're right about that. You're right.
Equal opportunists, I like to sit there and say.
And this has been a really great week on GH2. I mean, we've had Portia had her brother, her father come out. I was like, what? I was like, where did this come from? I was like, what? Did you know about that? That was gonna happen?
I mean, I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were gonna just come up with some sort of excuse. Oh well, like maybe they would have got like a brother, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, or like maybe a cousin or something like that. I don't know. It was cool. It was cool. I enjoyed. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. That episode was. It was good to sit there and see her family be there. I would say that much. And but besides that, some stuff was a mess. Some stuff was really good. Like
You weren't so
Drew and Liz.
you're saying you weren't too crazy about that part.
I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't too crazy about it, but I wasn't just. I was happy that they were able to do something like that. To actually get some of her family in there, get some new actors or whatever. Maybe a possibility of them actually doing some good stories with them for a little bit. But besides that, eh.
Because I think the brother is gonna get a role because that guy, I remember him from the haves and the have-nots and all these
Yeah,
famous
everyone was saying that too. Yeah,
he's gonna get a role. Like they didn't just bring him on here for decoration for one day. They did not bring that man on here for decoration for one day. He's gonna get something. Like when they bring up somebody like that in a star player, they're gonna do something with them. I did peep that Portia's mom was not there. I think that was intentionally done by the writers. They intentionally did that. But anyways,
no. I don't have to tell you the truth. I mean, Health is going to be good, and like you said, they do got somebody that has been doing other things. So why waste them? But I don't know. I guess I just kind of look at it and I'm like, whenever they add people on, it's like it can either be a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, we had Austin, he had Promise, and then we didn't see him for like 4 weeks at a time. So it's like we get these new actors in, and that's really great. But
you're not
if they
like
don't,
I get it because
if they don't do it right, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, let's just see how this goes. Like,
Yeah, pretty
we
much.
can't be spawning over them after one day. Let's see if we actually get a real storyline out of this.
Yes. And then, I also sat there and I looked at, Molly and TJ. And remember, Molly's been on the show since
Yeah,
this.
since 7. She's a new Robin Scorpio. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's like we barely see her every once in a while. It's like, It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, you got these really, really great guys or whatever, and you're gonna probably do something with them, but at the same, you understand what I'm saying, all right? Like
Yeah,
this chick's
yeah,
been on there
yeah.
since she's been 5. You guys come in, it's like, oh, you're gonna get the hot story. Like, what about her? She's been here since she's like 7. What are we gonna do with her?
Because
So,
I think that like when they brought them in, because I feel like every time the writers do something like that, well, with GH we don't know because it's gonna just be fizzle. But most time writers do something like that, bringing film members that are usually been off screen this whole entire time. I feel like there's a reason behind it. There's a mechanism behind it. Like there's a story that's about to be told, and Portia's mother was not there. And this is what I believe, right? Because we kind of saw this with Nina and Willow, where Nina years ago was like they would like after she would wonder about who her daughter was, they would like all of a sudden flash Nell and flash to Willow, like who is it, or is it really actually Sasha? They would do that, kind of play with it, kind of like plant little seeds for the future that came,
yeah,
right? As we see now. So I feel like the writers are planting these seeds just in case they want to go back and revisit this. Because I got a feeling of who could be Portia's mother. But anyways, go ahead. This is the Boss Enterprise. Go ahead.
no, what I was gonna sit there and say to Chase, you can see the names, right? When you
Yeah, I can see
scroll
them. I
up.
can see them. I can see them. I see Kyrie,
Pronounce the
Shakira,
first.
Monique, everybody, and Chase.
Okay, well, how do you pronounce her first name though?
Atara.
Wow.
Oh, wait. There's Trigina Chase, and then
Trigina,
Atara.
yeah, Trigina, yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, no, I did my review, so definitely check that out. Trigina, that's how you pronounce it?
I would say Trigina or Trigina.
Okay.
That would
Now,
work. It had
one
a
other thing
website.
one other thing I was to say before we started, get really started into this stuff. Now, you was on the live when Nathaniel, I think that's how you pronounce his
Nathaniel
name,
Gray. You
Nathaniel Gray, right?
must be related to Laura. Yep, Nathaniel Gray. I'm just kidding.
Okay. No, because I've been sitting there trying to. I've never seen it like spelt like that. Like I never seen it written like that. So it really threw me off, and so I
Yeah,
want to make
Nathaniel
sure I
Gray.
actually got the name right this time.
You're like another, this happens to James, or like people just pop in the chat. It's like, yeah, I used to write from Like to Live. Yeah, da da da. So like that just happened to you. They just popped up in the chat. I love
Yeah,
that.
but
I loved it.
it's been a hot. Okay, cool. I said the name right. For a hot minute, I could not pronounce his name. I think the last part was just throwing me off though. But anyway, going into GH, what have you been? You caught up with GH so far, right?
I'm caught up. I caught up all day yesterday. I finally saw Britt's funeral, which was very lackluster. I like that they gave her the plaque. That was all right. But I'm pretty much caught up on all the soaps. B&B, I'm probably a few episodes behind, but it's all right. I know I didn't miss much.
Yeah, and why not?
Why not? I'm caught up. I see Jill is still on Zoom, and that's because the actress is really in like some farm in Wisconsin. She's good.
Oh, okay. Now, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's why she's been doing the Zoom calls. Yeah, that's why she's been doing the Zoom calls.
Okay. All right. All right.
But I'm all caught up. I'm all caught up.
Now with this whole plaque thing, there was something that just bothered me about it a little bit, and I think it's because the actors that was on the plaque like actually died.
Right.
So it was like, their way of honoring not just the characters, but also, the actors and stuff like that. So seeing Britt's, like name, picture on the plaque was just
Kind of weird, right?
it felt a little off, especially when I sat there and I looked, I saw a lot, I saw Lila and I saw Alan and stuff like that, and it was just like, she's still alive. Like, why is she on here for? It just fell off.
I
Not
think
gonna
what
lie.
they're trying to do is they're trying to set it up for when they do Epiphany's memorial, and Epiphany's on the wall next. But then again, I don't think they need to put Britt on there. But I guess it just went with the storyline, so they did it. But I get it. It did feel kind of weird because they were all actually dead in real life, those actors. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It just I don't want to sit there and say it felt disrespectful, but it was just like, why are you up there? And it's just a little off to me. I would sit
Yeah.
there and say,
Yeah. No, just I understand that. I understand that.
okay. But so yeah, you didn't really like the memorial. I've said this in my review, but I pretty much kind of fast forward through it. So I pretty much asked everyone else. I didn't even think that Cody was there, right?
He was there, but it's like it's where like Britt has been on the show for so long, but like she wasn't really a loved character until recently, and I feel like the writers are really trying to like go back and do that just in case they do a funeral like they did now. That was a way of planting seeds just in case. Just like how, like I said, when there's a recast, they try to get the recast to have all the same scenes with all the casts for flashback purposes for the future, right? And so I just feel like looking at that with Brit, I mean, I don't think they wanted to kill her off with Huntington's because in case they wanted to bring her back, or in case they wanted to do a recast and they didn't want to shove that out there. Because now I feel like Liesel has no purpose on the show. I'm just, even though Nina is still there, I don't know what purpose Liesel serves anymore at this point. She could have been next by the hook, and I would have been okay with that. You know what I mean? This is what because I don't know what purpose Liesel will serve, Liesel or Scott, besides comedic relief. And I think we have enough characters that we can find comedic relief from somebody else who's actually telling the story. But I think for Nina's sake, they'll keep her on.
Probably, yes. I can see that, especially with the whole Nina and the revenge thing against Carly and stuff like that. So I can see that part. It's funny. I wasn't there. When you talk about characters that don't need to be there or you don't know what their purpose is, it's like Gregory today. Like he was there, and I was just like, why are you even here for? Like I know he was there in the beginning. Don't get me wrong. In the beginning, he had a good storyline with the whole Finn and who's the father and stuff like that. And he had this whole thing. He had this whole thing with Jackie and stuff like that. But like now, it's like, what is his purpose other than being a love interest for Alexis?
You think that he should have stayed Finn's dad? Like you think Finn should have stayed Chase's dad? You know, should have kept it like that and made that like what it actually was.
No, I'm actually glad that they went this way. As far as making Finn the brother and stuff like that, I'm actually kind of glad it went this way because I'm not gonna lie, it just would seem. I don't know if I would actually get used to it. Finn being Chase's dad, like that's just, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's
that's
the
just
beauty
weird.
of it. Would that be the beauty of it as us as viewers to kind of like go through the awkwardness with them and we're going through the story? To me, that was meaty. And then when they just undid it, I'm like, okay, like because Finn almost feels like to me he serves no purpose either without Elizabeth. He barely serves a purpose on the show. So and Chase's storyline is just so weird. I'm like I think he's a music star or something. I don't know what's going on with that. I really don't know what's going on. But I feel like if they would have had us navigate through that, and then seeing how like Chase and Finn how to navigate through it, and then keeping Jackie on for that storyline, it was just such a. I mean, it was good, but I just feel like they could have gone more with it. I know I would have liked that they did. And then in the end, Gregory says, "I'm still your father," and Finn still says, "I'm still your brother" in this weird, awkward way. Like I don't know, it would have worked.
I don't know, but I can see that though because then it would be very classic soap opera.
Yeah.
It would be very classic soap opera.
And that's
And
never
so
been
yeah,
done before, I think, on a soap where someone finds out their brother is their father.
yeah, yeah.
I've never seen that done before. That particular
I
way.
I agree. Honestly, tell you the truth, I think maybe what it is that I'm so used to seeing it one way that seeing it another way like that would just be kind of odd. But at the same time, yeah, it'd be very classic soap opera.
And I
Maybe it was
felt
kind of a
like
mistake.
I would have loved to have seen Finn as a new father, well, a second time father now to another child that he didn't kind of raise, he's kind of raising Violet. But like for him to like even give his thoughts on Brooklyn when he really thought about her, I don't know. There's just so much meat there, so much that could have unpacked. And just to see what Gregory thought about knowing that Finn had an affair with Jackie all these years, and then even that they gave us fake flashbacks, like flashbacks they just create for the sake of the storyline with the young Finn and the young Jackie. That would have been good. That was just a good opportunity there that they didn't explore. But you what are you gonna do?
Now, what we didn't actually even touch on in the beginning, I actually almost kind of forgot about that, is if General Hospital went to Hulu, would you still watch it?
Being that I have Hulu, yes, so yes, I would watch.
Yeah,
I
but if
would
you
be.
didn't have Hulu, that's the question. Because I have Hulu also, so I see it as the same boat.
I would because I signed up for Peacock for days, and even though General Hospital is struggling really badly, I don't want to see them go off the air. And I'll give them a chance because I'm thinking maybe their storylines will be better on Hulu because Days was already good before Peacock, but it got even better afterwards. And I don't know if it's from our $4.99 a month. I don't know. I think there's more sets. There's just more creativity. And honestly, when they did the whole heaven thing, I know that doesn't require much. A white smoke screen and some white little sheets. They can get creative. I mean, that's what they did when Vicky was in her mind and wanted to live. They just had a whole bunch of chairs. It was probably backstage they had there, but it just made it like, they made it work. So I think it would be good if they did go to Hulu. I know people would feel like that's the end of an era, but if that's the way they could tell a story and a better story, then I'd be here for it. What about you?
Same, same. And it's, you know, I can easily say that I would, if I didn't have Hulu, I would get Hulu because, this is technically my job, So covering the soaps is what I do. So that's already one aspect. But just being as a fan, I still would, you know. Even if, for whatever odd reason I have to sit there and watch YNR or whatever, I would still get it because I'm still a fan of the show. So, and clearly Days have been working on Peacock. They've been killing it, and they managed to find a way to do it and still keep it, still not go over the top with it.
Yeah, they made good storylines. Yeah, they have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just remember that some people listening to saying, like, when One Like to Live or All My Children went on the Hulu, or they start, like, throwing out curse words here and there and stuff like that, and we're just like, what? Like, even a little shift like that is just kind of,
it was too much. Yeah, it was too much. Like, the viewers weren't ready for that, and a lot of loyal viewers on soaps are older people, and I don't know if that was just like a shock to the system, like, like, I don't, it was a shock to the system. So I think they tried too hard to be edgy. And at the end of the day, was it Prospect Park went bankrupt? So that's really what happened in the day. That's really how they got canceled. Prospect Park went bankrupt and trying to sue ABC. They should have known better. Don't come with that smoke. Y'all should have came with that smoke because ABC got that money. They got money for the real big time returns, and they didn't have that.
Also, you guys sit there. I feel like back then, like, streaming services was still like an infancy stage.
Yeah.
Like, some people had it, but not. Like, you look now. If you sat there and you ask how many people in this chat have Netflix, probably a good 90% of them will sit there and say they have Netflix, or at least a good 80%. So it's like back then, it wasn't really. No, go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, but Oprah had picked up the show on her channel. She picked up All My Children When I Live on, and it aired on her channel for the summer. And she was ready to pick it up because she was a huge All My Children fan of Oprah. Even though before she said it didn't make sense for her, but I guess it made sense down the line. So I don't know what happened. But she picked it up, and she was willing to do it. But when they decided to come for ABC, which was the stupidest thing in the world, especially when you don't got no money, they came for ABC, and then they lost everything, and now we have nothing. So,
Yeah,
Days learned their lesson. People at Days learn not to do stuff like that. They learned better. They learned their lesson.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like, this wasn't even really so much. This was a smart decision because, again, there's some people that either live under a rock or they just don't know how to use the internet properly, other than sit there and whine and complain. They still assume that it was, NBC's choice to, do that. And in reality, if they didn't do that, it wouldn't be on the air. Like, if it didn't go to Peacock, you wouldn't be having Days at all. So a lot of people that still complain, I don't understand why I got to be on Peacock for. Why do I got to pay for it? Well, there's another choice. It doesn't actually have to be on. It can just go bye-bye, and then you can sit there and complain about that.
Right.
Right.
Because, I mean, you look at Days, we got the whole rooftop, even though it's kind of green skin. I was like, okay, look where our $4.99 is going, guys. Where our $4.99 is going a month. Look what they do at $4.99. Got the whole heaven backdrop. At least it's delivering, because Days has been giving very unique storylines. Even seeing Jordan Ridgway, I was like, what? I thought she was busy selling real estate houses, because that's what the actress is doing in real life. She's like this real estate reality TV show.
And that was the same actress, though, right?
Yeah, it was the same actress. So they got her on. I was like, okay, look at that. They really making some stuff happen. But it was like Days has been very fresh on storylines. I mean, the whole all three of them in heaven, and we don't know how that's gonna go, and it's a little like wonky and cartoonish, but I'm like, okay, this is interesting because I really don't know where this is going. I have
Yeah.
no idea. And then seeing Nick Fallon on, I was like, what? Gabby's ex-husband? I was like, okay.
Now I'm going on that. Um, it was one thing that I literally stressed to everyone when I finished doing my review. I was like, make sure you read something before you sign it. You have three so-called intelligent women, and they just start do. All right, here you go. And I'm like, I don't care if my dad gave me something to sign. I'm reading that before I sign it. So it was just like, when Nick was like, wait, so you tell me you didn't even read this like before you signed it? I, it's like they had to dumb them down to make this storyline move forward. And I felt like, I mean, granted, they do that on a lot of shows, but it's just one of those things where it's like, why do you have to? That's why I always sit there and say plot over common sense and logic. And people think it's just some sort of cliche that I keep saying, but in reality, yeah.
And you know what? I think that the three women are still alive, and like, I think what happens is Orpheus gave them some type of thing in their system that will keeps them biologically legally dead, but they're still technically alive, and they're gonna wake up like a month from now or something from whatever thing he put in their system. That's what I think is gonna happen. So I think that they're either in a morgue or somewhere, but they're still alive. And I think the drug or whatever that Orpheus gave them this thing to have the same hallucinations. I know, a wild theory, but that's what I'm going with here. That's what I think happened, and that's why
No,
Orpheus
no,
is
that's
chilling.
that's a very good theory. Also, if you are in the chat, you're enjoying the live stream, hit the like button because I've been saying this all week. It clearly does help. We get new people in here every day. We're getting celebrities. So yeah, it's not just a YouTube thing. I'm saying it's actually works. So
We got
um,
Mason Gatlin Halt in the chat there,
yeah.
Jay.
Who knows who's gonna pop in next? As I say, funny.
Right.
There's actually something that James have been saying. As far as like you never know it's gonna go on live. I'm like, hmm. Also, something else that he was sitting there saying that didn't hit me until that time when he was like, when he said something along the lines of, like the, network, whatever, like the people are watching. And at first I was just like, what does that mean? That sounds kind of creepy. He was like, oh, whatever. But then when he came in, he was like, oh, you and Brock or whatever, y'all are hilarious. I was like, oh, and I guess they are. I guess they are watching. All right, James. I was like, there's some truth to what he's saying. But I don't know. I've been loving Days for the most part. Stephanie still gets on my goddamn nerves. But I've actually been liking Allie a lot more, and I've been defending Allie, which is really odd. Um,
What changed on
she still
that?
has her she still has her moments where I'm just like, but initially it was Chanel that started with this whole breakup thing. I mean, granted, now you look at it, it's like tit for tat or whatever. It's like you can't even sit there and do the blame game anymore. It's just like they're just gonna probably wind up breaking up. But I felt myself defending Allie a lot more than I thought I would. You know?
Because Ali has been ride or die for Chanel. And personally, for me, I do feel like though, low key, I don't know what Ali expects. Like this woman was just married to your brother about like a year ago. She was going back and forth between the both of y'all. It was a really messy situation. So I look at her like, girl, what did you think was gonna happen here? Like, what did you think was gonna happen? You know what I mean? And then y'all went with Alex Kyriakis. I was just like, okay, Ali did have Chanel's back, and I agree with that. So, her catching Johnny and Chanel together, which that should have been Johnny and Ali. Why was Johnny? Why was Ali not? Why was Chanel with Johnny? It should have been Johnny and Ali doing that stuff on the rooftop for John and Marlena because that's their grandparents. So it would have made more sense. But Johnny said he needed company, but the company could come from the sister though. It had to come from Chanel though, right?
Like I said, plot over common sense and logic. And thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. And Um, but yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just one of those things where it's like we could sit there and play the blame game all day. 1 minute is Chanel's fault, the next minute is Allie's fault because apparently dude likes to sleep in the nude, and apparently that's a thing for some people. It freaks me out just sitting there thinking about that. I couldn't imagine doing that, but whatever. Um, and now, if you saw today's episode, they're in a bar and they're like kind of kissing, but not really kissing. So at this point, it's like, does it even really matter whose fault it is at this point? You know?
Because it's kind of like with Alex, Stephanie, and Chad. You turned off her phone, Demira. With the three of them, I noticed that. I mean, personally, I understand why Stephanie's mad. I get it, but I just feel like not that I'm defending what Alex did, but it's just Chad takes things to the helm. That's why now he went from Chad. Now he's Chad. You turn off her phone to Mira now. That's his thing. That's the thing he's going with. First, it's like, you killed my wife. You killed my wife. Now it's like, you turn off her phone. You turn off her phone. And he's just going to milk that because now he's left a good grace to Demira, so he's wandering around town. And I understand, I was kind of happy though when Alex stood up for himself, when he said to Stephanie, like, pretty much like he didn't want nothing to do with her now because he already know that she had been with Chad. I kind of like that he kind of stood up for himself finally. You know what I'm saying? He's going to keep taking punch after punch from her, I was like, you do that. You stand up for yourself. I'm proud of you. You stand up for yourself. I was proud of him.
I mean, and then you have Wendy in the mix. So now you got Wendy, and she was sitting there acting very standoffish to Johnny today. And after a while, I kind of looked at it. I was like, you know what? Maybe you're better off with Trip. You're better off with Trip because Johnny. As much as I like Johnny, his feelings just really depends on whatever way the wind blows. He still hasn't gotten over Chanel, and he's saying to her, "Hey, we need to sit there and be more. We need to be more careful and stuff like that." And you're trying to sit there and start something with Wendy, but you still have feelings for somebody else. Like, how messed up is that for her? You're practically using her as a consolation prize. I feel like that's kind of a theme. That's been a running theme lately, especially with Alex and Stephanie. Stephanie only went out with Alex because she couldn't get Chad. And now it's the same thing. It's like, oh, well, I can't be with Chanel, so I guess I'll sit there and settle for this chick over here.
And Wendy, to me, I think is she's one of the best new characters. And I remember.
Better than Sloan?
What was that?
Better than Sloan?
Okay, no, definitely not better than Sloan. Definitely not.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I can't for that guy. Sloan trumps her. Sloan just sautés into a room like, hi, Sloan Peterson. I'm his attorney now. I was like,
yes.
She goes. Sloan knows how to like steal the scene. She does. She knows how to steal the scene when she walks into the room. With Wendy is like, she's somewhat there as no character. Still needs a little more development for me. Still a little more development. And I really did like her pseudo friendship with Gabby, which is now kind of over. Which at the end of the day, I think Gabby has to understand she has to stand by her brother at the end of the day. She is a shin at the end of the day. And Gabby, I can see that Gabby just recently graduated. She got her PhD from the University of Jan Spears with the stuff that she's been doing with Stefan lately. Because I was like, was that necessary? like this is a Jan Spears move. I was like, this is what we're doing.
On top of that, I was like, bro, you could have actually wound up killing this man. And then you wouldn't actually had to bring, you wouldn't have had to worry about, being in love, him being in love with you because he would have been dead. So now he's in love with like him, me with her, and Chloe, which she's out of town now, so that's all sorts of fun.
He dialed his mom on the phone with his foot, like. I was like, okay, and I don't think it was Luis Sorrell on the phone playing Vivian. So I was like, okay, like we're getting Vivian's voice. I'm like, okay, is Vivian coming back? Because Vivian made a good point. He has not come to see her since he's back from the dead. So that wasn't really cool. You sent her the papers to get Jake's proxy, but he didn't come visit her in prison. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's definitely what's up. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, that's what we do. And this is what I think is going to happen too. Stefan and Nicole. I saw the way he looked at her. See, this is the thing. I just see a little smidge of that. I was like, yep, this is going to happen. They're going to do it. They're going to get together. I see it.
Was Stephen and Nicole?
Mm-hmm. I already see it. I already the way they looked at each other a little bit too long on those Mondays or Tuesday episodes. A little too long. That look. I was like, yep, there it is.
I don't see it, but I guess time will tell them.
The last time someone told me they didn't see it was when I told a friend of mine, was like, Morgan and Ava are going to get together at GH. I'm like, no, I don't see it. Look what happened.
All right. Well, listen, I've been wrong before. So, when I'm wrong, I will definitely sit there and own up to it.
And that's going to cause a little friction between him and EJ. Because I already see it. Nicole's getting a little too comfortable with that man shit.
Yeah, she's been there for a hot minute. She ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And besides, they can only have so many sets. So, it's either that or was she going to be sleeping at the office again? No.
Everybody's at the Salem Inn.
The one thing that I would sit there and say that's kind of a positive is Chloe's room looks exactly like Shen's room because all the rooms look the same because they're built like that. So I think that's probably one of the only positive. Let's be honest, Nicole has money. Okay, if she wants to sit there and rent a place, she could. It's not like this chick is broke or starving or anything like that. Yeah. So, but whatever. I'm just gonna totally ignore that logic because, well, we still got Days of Our Lives on the air. So,
what did you think about Xander putting the moves on Legal Stark? I did not see that coming when I was watching it, and I was like, okay, he's really trying to get out of this prison sentence. It's giving Adam Newman. I could do that.
I was laughing so hard. I found that to be a very enjoyable scene. The way that I was going to call him Kevin. See, this is what happens when you watch all 4 soap operas. But Jesus Christ, Leo's reaction was just hilarious, and I was just there for it the whole time. Now Sarah,
I'm over it.
Oh my God!
I'm over it.
See, this is my whole thing. Like Gwen. As much as I didn't like her in the beginning, Gwen is literally the ride or die chick. Okay? And it's one of those things where it's like Sarah got upset because she was like, oh, I can't believe you're with Gwen. And it's, it hasn't really been that long. I was like, boo, you wanted this divorce. You got it. You don't get to sit there and be upset that he decided to move on when you want that divorce. On top of that, let's think about this. This guy has no job, no prospects. Let him be somebody else's headache. If Gwen wants to sit there and take him after losing everything to be with him, you should be happy. That's Gwen's problem at that point.
Gwen is really pathetic. I just felt like you were just like, this man dumped you the moment Sarah came into town. Like he dumped you like a hot potato. And now you want to sacrifice your relationship with Jack, your house, like your job at the Invader. Like you finally just built a life for yourself for Xander Cook. And this man, like, we all know if he could get Sarah back, he would drop you like a hot potato. And I felt very disappointed in Gwen, and I don't blame Leo for reaching out to Sloan and say, listen, what can I do to save myself? Because, like, Leo knows what time it is. Leo's like, you know what? Yeah. Gwen is too blinded by Xander, right? So in a sense, she's kind of like, yeah, like.
I know what you was going to say, but yeah.
I know. I had a quick. This is a kid show.
Exactly. Keeping this PG-13.
It was just like I was really like Gwen, like you're gonna sacrifice all of that just for Xander, and he'll leave you again when Sarah comes back and back in his good graces. And I was just like, okay, Gwen is just pathetic. Like this has just been confirmed for me now. This has been confirmed, and I don't blame Leo for wanting to save himself. Honestly, in that moment, it's kind of grimy. But I don't blame him for just trying to see if he could take a plea deal with Sloan and everything, because at the end of the day, Leo really didn't have no culpability. He was just trying to get the bills paid. He lost his job with Paulina. Clyde Weston set him up. So he was just trying to like do something with himself. So I wasn't too mad at him. I wasn't too mad at him for that.
I wasn't mad at him at all. Because, here's the thing. He did sit there and tell Gwen even before, he was like, yo, listen, you don't want to sit there and sacrifice all that to be with a man who still is in love with somebody else. He literally sat there and talked to her multiple times. No, I don't feel bad for. He ain't doing anything wrong because he literally did try. It's not like he went behind her back. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sit there and sell y'all both down the river, whatever." It's like, no, he tried to get her to sit there and listen to reason in logic and common sense, and that just went out the window because plot. So, no, I was still about to call him Kevin again.
And speaking of plot, this Orpheus thing versus John, Marlena, Roman, Kate, this has been going on since the 80s. I'm tired of it. Like, I wasn't even around back then, but I'm like, I'm tired of this already. Like, this has been going on for a minute. Like, we get it. I think it was John or Roman, whoever was responsible for the death of your wife. Like, can we move on? Like, just kill them already or get it over with. Like, just kill them for real, get it over with. Like, it's like, because the thing is like, with Stefano had this vendetta against the Bradys for years and years, but it just wasn't so mundane like it was with Orpheus. And it's Orpheus, I'm just like, just kill them already, Orpheus. Just kill everybody. Like you know, like, okay, your precious wife died. Like, how long do you want to keep dragging this? Like, this has been dragged out since the 80s. Because I went back a year ago and started watching the clips. So now I feel like I was born in the 80s as well. So I feel like I was there for that. But I'm like, when are you gonna let this go? Like, seriously. It's like with Jan Spears and her session she had with Sean. It's like, you know, when is Orpheus gonna move on to something else? You know, like this has been going on since the 80s. Like, what more can you do? Like, even the Stefano, the Demary had the feud he had with the Bradys, they eventually had to put an end to that in 2008 because it was like enough was enough. This has been going on for like 20, 30 years. Let's give a reason to it and put it to bed, even though they reversed that reason 6 years down the line. So Brady could be with Kristen and Teresa, but whatever. So I'm just going to wrap that up.
I guess for me, the reason I'm not tired of it or whatever is just because it's still somewhat new to me. Like, I've been watching Days since year 2000. So all this stuff is pretty much kind of new to me. Like, the possession storyline is new to me. Like, I know a lot of people's like, oh, I'm so tired of it and stuff like that. And it's like, I get their perspective because they've been watching it a lot longer than me. They went through the first round of this possession storyline. For me personally, I'm like, oh, I'm loving this. This is great. So it's I guess that's kind of the advantage of watching it. Yeah.
What about the Heaven storyline? You like that too?
I'm liking it. I'm actually, tell you the truth, that scene with Kay, Kayla, and Marlena was probably my favorite scene throughout that episode. And everything else is just kind of like, whatever. For the most part. But that was like my favorite scene. And also just kind of laughable that three smart, intelligent women didn't bother to read anything before they signed it. But, again, I loved it.
And I love that Kate was in purgatory because I feel like that's exactly where Kate would be. Like, that's exactly where she would be. But the thing is, when they said Kate's name, they were like Kate's Roberts Demir. They forgot that she was also Mrs. Kyriakis at one point. So they should have added that in. But Kate was exactly where she needed to be, in purgatory. That was fitting when I saw that. I was like, yeah, that's where Kate would be. She would be in purgatory. That's where she would be. I mean, I'm kind of trying to figure out how they're going to bring them back from the dead, because clearly they're not dead. But this is like a good little thing. But the thing is, it would have been nice if they had a real funeral for these women. It would have made it feel more real for us as viewers.
Yeah, and part of the reason why, right? Because they didn't have Sammy there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They didn't have Sammy there, and this is one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna ask you, do you think that they should recast Sammy?
I don't know. That role is just so associated with Alison Sweeney. I think Days knows better too than to do that. I get it because like they need to tell the story, but there's some people I'm okay with them being recasted. Like if they ever wanted to recast Ned, I'm cool with that. He's been on since the 80s. They can recast Ned. Not Ned. I'm sorry, Justin.
Justin, Ned. See, this is what happens if you watch all four. I was waiting for that.
Okay, but I don't know, because honestly, if they could have had Sammy there, you're right. But they could have easily just said, "Oh, Sammy was just here. She just left." Like, I would have been okay with that on-screen mention, because I feel like you need a funeral to make it feel real. Because we got the flashbacks of John Marlena when they're up on the rooftops. That made it feel more real. I feel like you need that. Okay, what do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
What's good, Tammy? Tamara. See, the thing is, I can see both sides of it, because certain roles are just iconic with certain people. It's like if they sat there and said, "Oh, let's recast Sammy," let's recast Sonny on General Hospital. It's like, what? Or let's recast Luke. Certain people are just iconic to that role. So I understand even me saying like I think they should recast Sammy. It's like, oh, shut your mouth. It's like, no, I get it. But
Yeah.
again, this is one of those things where it's like you have certain holes in the story because of that. Like remember when Hope was gone and they kept there finding reasons of why she couldn't come back or why she couldn't come back to sit there and see Sierra and stuff like that. And after a while, it's like this is starting to really make no sense. It was just
Right.
like a giant hole in the story for a good year until they did Beyond Salem when they actually had the actress come in and say why she couldn't come back to Salem. But
Right.
it's like they were just left with that gaping hole that was just like, yeah, we know it's a pothole. We're just gonna step over it. And
Like,
that's the same. That's the same thing with Sammy not being at that funeral
yeah, because I
or
mean,
not being there.
if they would have even had like the back of her head, like a blonde hair and just a mouth talking, like, and we can't see the face, I would have been okay with that. Because I understand Allison Sweeney, she's busy doing Hallmark movies, she got things going on. I would have accepted that because I do believe you can't have a funeral for Marlene without Sammy there. It would just not make sense unless the character of Sammy is dead, which Sammy's character is not dead, and you definitely don't want to kill that type of character off screen like they did Luke Spencer. But you want to get a victory. Or you kill a legendary character like that. I mean, because there's some characters, like I said, they can be recasted. And like, for example, Nicholas, I feel like now at this point, Nicholas has been recasted 10 times. I can't even take the character seriously, but we're still talking about days right now. So well, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I get it. And the thing I really like about Days is that when they can bring back the original actor, they will. They'll probably damn near move heaven and earth to sit there and try to recast. Not recast because they know how much the fans really would like them to come back. Like, can you imagine if they sat there and be like, we're just gonna recast Bum? Like what? I'm not.
They
I
did
don't even
once. They did
really know
recast him once. They did.
what he
In
did.
the 90s, they recasted him. They did recast him for a hot minute.
I'm pretty sure that didn't go over well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hit or miss. Some people liked Robert Kelly better as Bo. Some people didn't. And his Bo was with Lisa Rinna's Billy. So it kind of sort of worked for back then. But yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, okay. But I mean, like I said, iconic roles like that, it's like you got to sit there and tread lightly. But I feel like it's for me personally, I don't really know the character that much, but I just can't imagine them just taking that lightly as far as them recasting, or recasting Hope. Oh,
Right.
let's recast Laura. Laura Spencer. It's like what exactly? So I can respect that Days will sit there and try their best to not recast.
Yeah, because I think like some soaps will recast a legendary character if it's just for a day. And they're like, okay, we'll just let this slide for a day because we got to keep telling the story.
Yeah.
But I agree because what happened with recast, it brings a lot of interruptions. And sometimes I feel like what it can do is it can make you stop taking the character seriously. There are 2 times where that did not happen in the case of Adam Newman and YNR and then Carly on GH, where it was recast multiple times, but we still took the character seriously every time, which is rare. Except for that one recast for Carly, we're not going to talk about.
Yeah. that one
That
little
didn't land well.
anomaly space and time. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't land too well. It didn't land too well. But I mean, so like I said, I agree with them not recasting the role. So we're gonna see how that goes today. We're gonna see how it goes.
No, I want to just pop real quick back to GH.
I knew it.
They're doing this whole haunting story. Oh, we're gonna sit there and haunt Eileen or whatever. What do you think about that? What do you think about them sitting there trying to haunt? I mean, you go first because I think you already have an idea what I'm going to say. So you go first.
The Willow and the Curtis and that story has been good, but this whole Anna and Valentine and Nicholas with the 1023 cast you got and him supposed to end up dead. They really hated Marcus Colombo. You can see the right hated this because they are killing off his character. The writing sometimes tell you how they feel about the person. I don't know if anybody else is sensing that, but the writing is telling me how they felt about Marcus Kalova. Because now they just brought this new guy to kill Nicholas off. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with this point. But the whole Eileen thing, I just want to know. I thought we were going to get a reason as to why. I don't think they explained today's episode, which I haven't caught yet, but I was hoping to get a reason why, as to why she's been working for Victor. Has he been blackmailing her? Does he have her son in a tunnel, her cat in a tunnel, her dog in a tunnel somewhere? Why exactly is she working for Victor? What? Because she's like, you promised me nobody would get hurt. So it seems like she has a conscience, right? So I'm trying. I wish that could be figured out as to why they got her working for Mr. Sheffield. That was my biggest thing that I want to know. So, but yeah, what are your thoughts on it? With the haunting?
It's stupid. It's dumb. Like this is what we're doing now. This is their great plan to sit there and take out Victor Cassadine, which a character that we kind of don't really take you seriously because of the actor. So this is their great plan to sit there and get back at Victor for justice for Luke that he got killed off screen, which is total BS, is to haunt Eileen.
But see, that's the thing. I think they forgot why they've been going after Victor in the first place, was to find out about Luke. Like, that original reason has been lost.
Yeah.
Translation over time. And I'm like, does anybody care what happened to Luke anymore? Are we still talking about that? Is that still a
thing? Are we still trying to investigate it? Like, is he actually dead? We're just gonna assume that he's dead. Like, we're just gonna.
Unless he's coming back on the 60th. If he's coming back on the 60th, and that's why they've been dragging this out, okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a pass. But
if they did do that, then that might sit there and redeem, GH in some people's eyes. I'm gonna be honest. It may actually do that. They can get the actor to come back. I might be like, you know what? As crap as this story has been so far, and it has been trash, if they did that, then it could be like, you know what? I was going to stop watching, but after this, okay, all right, I'm back on board now.
I agree. See, that would be like a nice little twist if they did that, because the vets, Valentine, Anna, and Felicia, it's not like the way they write for the vets on Days, right? Where the vets on Days, I'm actually still interested in their storylines. But on GH, it's like, okay, we're going to give them a storyline. And it's like, but we're not really invested. I'm not invested in, like, I don't know why they're going after Victor. Like, to me, they're confused. Like, the writers are confused. So the characters are confused. The actors are confused. And as a result, we, the viewers, are confused, just as everybody else.
And yeah, it's funny too. When Nathan came on the live stream, he was saying that he got his script 4 days before they start shooting. So it's just like, how far is people catching up? And it just made it seem like the writers are just kind of going. It's like there's not really a plan. They're just kind of going as they go along. If you're gonna sit there and have the actors get scripts and stuff like that, like maybe a couple of days before, it's like, well, what are y'all doing? Like, how long have y'all been doing this for? Like, has that been the reason why Days has been killing it compared to GH?
To make sense, right? I guess this starts to make sense why we've been seeing it's because even the other day, Austin was like, Ava, open up. It's Austin, open up. And I'm like, first of all, this is not your house. First of all, it's 2023. People don't do unannounced visits to people's homes. Ava doesn't know you like that. Where's this coming from? Like, I get I wanted to put these two together, but it's doing too much. Like, I think because the writers started to see Austin and Max didn't work out, it wasn't really panned the way they wanted to. Let's just throw him on Ava. Let's see how this works. They were both on Asriel turns together. Let's see how these two actors work. And I was like, really? Ava, open up. It's Austin. Open up, Ava. And I'm like, why are you at her house? Like, I don't understand this. Like, you guys are not friends. He's knocking on the door like he's going to Spoon Island.
I don't understand why he's going that far as helping her out. That's something else that I don't get. Like, I get that, maybe he's a nice guy, whatever. But I'm like, there's nice, and then there's, I'm going to sit there and help you cover up a crime. Like, no, we ain't that cool,
Yeah, it was just, to me, it was just doing too much. Like, why would you help her? Ava, open up. It's Austin. Open up. Like, we need at least a good couple of months to feel this chemistry between guys. This just happened like yesterday for you guys to start like googly eyes at all the hospital, everything. And honestly, Mason is probably the most interesting part of Austin's storyline. Honestly, if it weren't
Right.
for the character of Mason, I don't know that I would be finding Austin Gatlin Hall interesting in the remote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, see, another problem with
I agree
these
that type of
characters that seem like they lose a little bit of interest is the fact that we don't see them that much.
yeah.
Like we saw Austin like maybe once throughout the month. We'll sit there and see him like maybe for a week. Out of 3 weeks, we'll sit there and see him like maybe in 3 episodes, and then we won't see him again. So that's just an issue in itself. That's another reason why people start to lose interest in these characters, that we don't see them enough. And why? Because we have 1,000 something characters on screen. So that's another reason why when I saw Portia's family and stuff like that, I was like, ah, man, that's so cool. They got their family there. So many more people are going to be on the show now because we're getting a lot of people on the show.
And I know they're
You
clearing out
know?
the budget for that man. They're clearing out the budget for because that man I've seen in movies. They're clearing out a little bit of budget for him. I got a feeling because he's not just a 1-day player. They're clearing out a little bit of budget for him. I can feel it. I can feel it. And see, this is my thing too with the storylines. I feel like, looking at it like with Austin, right? Does he even remember he's a Quartermain? Like it's like his character's losing so much purpose, and it's really sad because it was a good setup, and maybe they should have just kept him as Franco. Maybe they just should have, because this is just, I don't know what this is. Yeah, this is so flat. It's like, and then you got Chase in Brooklyn. I don't know what they're doing these days. I think he's still doing the music. I don't know what they're doing these days. I'm just like, oh god.
It's very, and I mean, well, the sad thing is that in this weird way, I'm more invested in Chase in Brooklyn, specifically Brooklyn, and I'll tell you why. Because if you saw yesterday's episode where she signed that paper, she's going to sit there every time a woman says something, she's going to sit there and be there to defend Link. I'm like, bro, are those songs really that worth your soul? And the or SH of other women that's going to be coming after you with that guy, like, really? And I sat there and I tried to put myself in her shoes a little bit. And I was like, well, so if, DC, if they said that you couldn't sit there and do General Hospital reviews anymore, right? How hard would you sit there and try to sit there and get the rights to do General Hospital reviews?
I think I would try, but I wouldn't sacrifice the person that I'm with and their livelihood and all this other stuff, because Brooklyn is just doing too much. It's at the point where I'm just like, sis, like, you got Quartermain money, just relax. Like, just go home, open up the fridge, order like your Quartermain pizzas you guys do Thanksgiving. Like, just go home and relax. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the storyline to me with Chase in Brooklyn, it just feels so Looney Tunes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not invested in it. And see, this is why I would rather watch Finn and Chase figure out their awkwardness as father and son. That would be more interesting than this, And then maybe Finn saying how, like, oh, I don't want you with Brooklyn, or I don't know, maybe Chase helping Finn find out what happened to his wife who died. Is that still even a thing? We forgot all about that too. You see, GH will start a storyline, do something weird in between, and then stop it. You notice that? That's like a pattern I'm noticing. This is a pattern. First, we found out Elizabeth pushed Finn's wife downstairs. Then she did something weird by helping Nicholas kidnap Esme, and they just dropped the whole thing with her pushing Finn's wife down the stairs and him not finding out.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the whole pushing down the stairs part.
Too, right? You forgot about it too, right? I did too.
Yeah. So you caught up with everything on YNR, right?
Yes, I'm super caught up on YNR. Super caught up.
All right. So what do you think about YNR so far?
YNR it's going really good. I'm glad that Sally finally told the truth about it, which I felt like personally with her and Nick, they could just decide to tell Adam if it turns out to be his baby. With Devon, he was definitely selfish when he said to Lily, "Why don't you come over to Chance of Winners and work on what our father had, if it's really about family." I'm like, she just built a whole career over there. So we wanted her to drop it at a dime just so she can make you feel better. And I'm glad she's like, I'm not going to do this to make you feel better about yourself. I was like, you tell him, you tell Devon. And then we got Nate the Great. I'm proud of Nate doing his thing. So he's with Audra and Elizabeth. This is like a weird, and he's with Elena. So it's a weird little thing he's
Bro,
got to
who's
do.
Elizabeth?
I'm not Elizabeth. I'm sorry, Victoria. The show's confused. This is the second time today. Okay, with Victoria. What are your thoughts so far? Why not? If I go any further, what are your thoughts?
Now, and here's the thing: when it comes to the Devon and the Lily part, I look at it like this: as much as I like Devon, you signed on to sit there and do this whole merger thing. And like Joe said, you don't get to sit there and just take your toys back and be like, all right, I don't want to play anymore. That's not how that works. So now, you know, they're sitting there being like, hey, listen, we'll go public. We'll sit there and buy you out. You can sit there and do your own thing and everything will be fine. And he's like, no, I want to sit there and preserve the company. But I'm like, bro, you're only doing this because you think that if you lose the company or you have to start over again, your memories with um, Neil is going to be lost, and that's not how that works. Um, so I think it's one of those things where it's like Lily had a great idea. She's like, I'll give you money, whatever, and he still doesn't want to take it. So I'm like, now you're just being stubborn off of what at this point, you know? Like it's just
Right.
it's selfish, it's unprofessional, and it's just one of those things where it's like, not to be all morbid or anything like that, but I'm like, I feel like this is more about grief than anything else. I'm like, maybe you need to sit there and go to counseling. Because I haven't felt, and he not even jokes aside or whatever. I'm like, maybe if he actually went through that whole process, he wouldn't be so stuck on keeping his company or whatever just for the sake of Neil.
Right,
Because I
right,
feel like that's what it is more than anything else.
right. Because as I'm looking at it, like the whole storyline with all of them starting the business was just a mess from start to finish. I don't feel like that was what the original plan the writers had that we're seeing now. Okay, I'm gonna work with it. Um, and I feel like Lily is trying to make a way for herself. And I appreciate that she stood up to Devon. And see, this is why I understand why. But see, this is why I feel like I understood what Nate was saying. I saw what Nate saw. I saw what he saw at that time. Delivery wasn't the greatest, right? Delivery wasn't the greatest. You don't want to go to sabotage your company now. But I see what Nate was talking about, honestly. I see because I think over at Newman, he's been able to make a better way for himself. But I think it's going to get very sticky with him getting involved with Victoria. Definitely. And then with Audra at the same time. But he's also still with Elena, too. So it's like he's
Yeah,
in like a little. I don't. Can you even call it a triangle? A triangle is like 3 people. It's 4 people, right? So it's like quadrangle. One person at the center.
yeah, maybe. I think so. Um, but yeah, no, that happened. I didn't do a poll yet. But I don't even know. Here's the thing. I don't even know if he's actually going to hook up with Audra. I mean, listen, if I had to sit there and choose between Victoria, Audra, and Elena, that's not even a choice. Okay, Audra is an easy win at that point. Um, but it's going to be interesting to see how he does navigate this whole thing with Victoria and Victor, because you know how Victor is. Okay, you
Oh
know
yeah.
how Victor is. I haven't even been watching the show that long, and I already know how Victor is. So it's definitely going to be very interesting. And of course, now you have the whole Billy and Chelsea thing. And I'm like, bro, I was like, yo, listen, you sitting there taking out on these non dates. This woman has pretty much tried to delete herself. I don't know. She's ready to sit there and kind of throw herself back out into the dating world. But
Yeah.
since this is a soap opera, we got to sit there and do something with her. Now
Yeah.
you got Adam that's like there. It's just a mess. He's also I almost actually start to feel sorry for Adam when you start to think about it. He's dealing with stuff with Billy. He doesn't even like his job. He finds out that his dad and what's his name?
Nick.
No, not Nick. Uh,
Kyle.
Kyle is there trying to kick him out with Victor and stuff like that, and he still has feelings for Sally. So he's just all over the place. Like if anybody deserves a drink, it's Adam.
And the crazy thing is that I was thinking about it. I was like, when Allie and Nick were discussing the baby, I was like, so is Nick about to raise another one of Adam's children? Because he's already raising Adam's son, Christian. And I'm like, so is he gonna raise another one of Adam's children? You know, I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I was like, okay, he's gonna do it again, because obviously Christian is Adam's bio son. Adam knows, but he decided to step aside since Nick was already raising him and all that jazz. And I'm like, and the crazy thing is, Connor has another brother who he thinks is his cousin, just like with Johnny. So let me explain. Let me break this down. Let's break down. Okay, so Connor at first thought Johnny was only just his cousin, when it turned out Johnny was also his brother through Chelsea. Now it's the same thing. He thinks Christian is his cousin through Nick, when Christian is also his brother through Adam. So that'll be interesting when that comes out too.
Oh, he doesn't know. Oh,
I don't think he knows. Yeah,
wow.
so that's another thing we're ready to come through. I think only Adam, Victor, Victoria, and Nick know that Christian is Adam's bio son.
Well, I guess we don't have to sit there and worry about that for a while, since we never see Christian anyway.
Yeah, he's never on screen. He's never on screen. So I don't think we'll have to worry about that for a minute on that. I don't have to worry about that at all. And this is the thing too, is that watching it, I am really proud of Diane. She's like I said, she's the next Mrs. Jack Abbott, and Phyllis could never be that. Phyllis could never be that. Diane has that smoothness. She has that. She has that Lady of the Manor aura that she gives off. That Phyllis just doesn't have. Phyllis just doesn't have that at all. She doesn't.
Yeah. It's one thing I will sit there and say about Y&R is that there's almost no characters that's wasted. Almost no characters that's wasted.
Almost.
Yeah, and you know.
I just saw him on screen the other day, and I was like, "When did y'all adopt a baby? Like, this is so random." I was like, this is still going? I was like, okay, they're picking it out. Let's see.
And it was so dumb, because it's like they were in the episode, they were sitting there talking about baby names, which, it's hard for us to sit there and get invested when we didn't actually get to see them interact with the mother and everything like that. How that's going, is that's going to be tension or whatever, because at the end of the day, they can still sit there and change their mind even after they give birth. We have no idea what the relationship between those women are, because it happens off screen. So now, towards the end of it, she, the birth mom is sitting there saying that she's in labor or whatever. So it's like, all right, cool, they're going to sit there and fly out there. Well, we're probably not going to wind up seeing it. Oh, yeah, no, she just had Braxton Hicks. What am I doing with these characters at this point? Like, I swear, the only reason why they're on there, right?
Yeah, diversity purposes.
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
It's just one of those things, like, it's sad, because I know there's people that do like them. And it's not like I sit there and I don't understand why. Like, what are they doing on the show that is making people like them?
I think it's their first LGBT couple. I think that's part of it. That's really it, because there's no other story being brought to it, because this is what I see is going to happen. They're going to be in the coffee shop, Tessa, Mariah, and Sharon's going to be there, and they're going to call, hello? Who's this? And they're like this. And then Sharon's like, what happened? It's the mother. She changed her mind. Next week on The Young and the Restless. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. She changed her mind. And this all happen off screen, of course.
Exactly. And then when you stop to think about it, it's like they have them there for diversity purposes. Right. But how disrespectful is it when you give them such lazy stories, such lazy writing? And I can totally see a scene like that happening. And granted, this isn't the first time that stuff happened off screen that would have been really interesting, like the whole Michael Baldwin thing and the whole Ashton Locke thing. Or didn't you sit there and say they had something with Amanda going to the court or whatever? They were going to sit there and do something as far as Baby Dom was concerned, and a lot of that stuff happened off screen.
And then they just came to a settlement agreement. I'm like, we could have seen that play out in court where, Devon was trying to go for custody, and we could have seen Abby and Chance band together, and even Victor go after Devon and say, you stay away from my grandson, okay? That's my grandson. You stay away from him. You stay away from him. Stay away from my grandson. Like, we could have got those kind of scenes.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things where it's like, I get that they're not the only people that have stuff that happens off screen, but how disrespectful is that, though? Yeah. You have an LGBT couple on this show, have them do something other than just be a check mark for the network.
Right.
You know, like how you know what I'm saying. Like I feel like in a lot of ways the Taraya fans should be complaining more about the fact that they're not getting good storylines rather than just saying, "Oh, representation matters." They're on the show. We get that representation matters. You should be sitting there saying, "Give them a good storyline."
And another thing they could have even done if they can't do the baby thing, they could at least have Mariah and Daniel meet. Daniel killed her twin sister Cassie. Like, why has that not happened yet? I mean, has it happened yet? I missed it. I don't know. People in the chat can tell me, but why has Daniel not met Mariah yet? And this could be a moment where Daniel could have flashbacks, and then he's like, "I'm so sorry." He's like, "My God, Cassie!" Like, what? You see, like that could be a moment where he could meet her. It's like, "My God, Cassie," and she goes, "No, I'm Mariah." And then like what I'm saying? That could have been a moment. And then Daniel could have, I don't know, they could have had that could have been like a 2-day episode thing, between the two of them or something, where he's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to kill her. It was so long ago." And then Nick comes in and we get a little blast on memory lane, but they still haven't met yet. Daniel's managed to be everybody in town, but Cassie's twin sister Mariah. It's so weird. So
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's. Well, I mean, granted, that can still happen. That's the only good thing that can still happen. It just hasn't happened yet. So they've been dropping the ball on that. Is what it comes down to. But as long as the actors or whatever they're still on the show, the characters still on the show, it's still time for that to happen, and hopefully that will happen. I just don't want it to be down the line. It shouldn't be a down the line thing. It's like when Felicia was talking to Anna and Valentine, it was like, "Oh, we're gonna sit there and get Victor someday," and I was like, "What do you mean someday? What do you mean someday? We've been doing this since like last year."
yeah, that's
When
getting
they
old.
said some, yeah, when they said someday, I was like, I know this chick not just sit there and say we're gonna get Victor someday. It's 2023. What like? Okay.
And then throwing Laura in the mix, like that whole, yeah. Okay, wait, we were talking about GHOI and artists then. Okay,
Well, I mean, we was kind of bouncing around a little bit,
okay.
but
Because
now
there's like
being
3 Victors on all shows except for B&B.
oh, you're right, My bad, my bad. But
But
on a side note, I was just gonna say this though. Justin and Ned are pretty much the same character.
yeah,
So
there's really no
when you mix them
difference.
up, and when you mix them up, it was like he's not really mixing them up that much when you really stop to think about it.
Yeah, they're both kind of the same character. I'm like, I don't really see the difference. Okay, like obviously Leo and Kevin, you see a huge difference with those characters.
Yeah.
Um, Ashley and Kristen on days. Well, back when Eileen Davidson was playing Kristen on days, huge contrast. Which doesn't always have to be that, but I feel like you want to see a difference with the characters that are being played. You don't want to feel because when it's the person just feel like they're just playing themselves, it makes it just like they're just there for the check. You know what I'm saying?
Like Will
they just
Smith,
showed up as themselves get the check.
like Will Smith in almost every other movie.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's just like they don't bring nothing. I want to see more of that. Like even with Ned, like because here's the thing too, like I understand wanting to have good guy characters or anti-heroes and pro heroes, is out of what Tony would say. But I feel like the thing about it is, like I said, and I've said this before, you can write for a good character and give them edge, as he would say, right? Give them a little edge,
Mm-hmm.
and but still make them interesting. Like Marlena, she's still that goody two shoes, but she was possessed. She put Stefan in a coma. She did all those things, and she's still that goody two shoes. Or just like I said before with Vicky and One Like to Live, when she had the multiple personalities, but she still was goody two shoes. But that edge was the multiple personalities that allowed her to do all those things and be that person. Like Laura on GH, so that goody two shoes, right? But she killed her stepfather. She killed her own father. Always accidentally killing people. but she was still able to have that edge as a character, like a history that made her interesting. And I don't know that Ned has ever had that on days. Like I don't know. Like he's been on his 80, but what has he done? Like not Ned. I'm sorry, Justin on days. Justin.
See how they're the same, practically the same character.
Yeah,
You just said it right there.
I confuse them because they're literally the same character. Like there's really not that much of a contrast. And I think when Ned was on GH, one thing he did was with Monica, and ever since then, nothing else has really happened with Ned's character. That was just that so contrast that makes him interesting, I hate to say. And even with Drew, it would have been better if, to me, my opinion, Cameron Matheson came in as a mischievous Drew or just as a whole new character with a different agenda. Because he's always playing the good guy, the good Hallmark-ish kind of guy. He's been playing that since All My Children, right? So it would have been nice to see him something different. Like, okay, Jason and Dylan McAvoy, Young Restless. So Jason Morgan, Dylan McAvoy, Young Restless, two different characters. Also because Dylan McAvoy actually talked in almost every scene. That was a big difference, right? But I want to see that contrast between the two characters, which I said is something that we don't see with Ned and with Justin. So that's why I don't confuse them. So
Yeah. No, now B&B was, when was the last time you actually watched B&B?
Okay, so last time I watched B&B was when Brooke and Taylor were talking in the office, which was actually refreshing. I was like, okay, finally, y'all act like grown women. It only took you 25 years. All right. I'm here for it. That was the last episode I saw. And then Katie came in and was like, why are you guys defending Bill Dick Sheila? And then Taylor goes, it's complicated. Is it because I shot him? And that was pretty much the last I saw of B&B since. So you can update me what happened. You're not gonna spoil it.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's not even, the problem is not even that much happened. All that really happened was Taylor kept flipping around. Like 1 minute she wants to sit there and tell, like 1 minute she wants to sit there and confess, and then Steffi talks her down, and then the next episode she wants to confess, and then Steffi talks her down. They've been having that whole back and forth for about 2 weeks. I swear I watched yesterday's episode. I was so pissed off when she was like, that's it. I'm going to sit there and tell her myself. I'm like, yo, just do it. Just do it at this point. Just pick a lane and go into it. Like, I'm a person that doesn't really have that much patience to begin with. You can tell when I do my reviews. I'm like, just do it. Or don't do it. Just do something. Stop breathing. I don't care. Just pick a lane. And that literally has been going on for about 2 weeks. They've been having the same conversation for 2 weeks.
That's B&B for you.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love B&B because it's my favorite comedy. But it's when they get to a point when they start to rehash the same story, like the same dialogue, like the same conversation. Oh yeah, no, it's a comedy. Let's be honest. I mean, come on now, you got Zombie Bill and Steppy that's always overacting, and Finn, we just never know where his acting is going to go. It's a comedy. On top of that, how many times do you need to sit there and give somebody a hug before at some point it's like, just kiss and get a room? Yeah. And I'm talking about Taylor and Brooke at this point. Because I'm just like, there was one episode where they hugged like 3 times. I'm just like, so y'all just gonna kiss at this point? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, and the thing is, it's not even just me. I was watching James this morning, and he was sitting there talking about the storyline. He was like, so y'all gonna kiss or something like that? Like, so many people are already getting that vibe. I'm just like, just do it.
So they've been laying on that with Brooke and Taylor. I didn't know that because I just came for that one episode. I was like, oh, this is good, finally.
When you take another look at the scene between Brooke and Taylor, you'll see a vibe. Of course, that's not going to happen because, well, we know why that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Dubai.
Honestly, I did sense that vibe for like a hot second. I feel that's smart.
Yeah. But of course, I mean that's not going to happen. But it's giving vibes like it could happen.
And Harmony. Yeah, I was giving Alexis and Harmony vibes.
I actually tell you the truth, this was more than Alexis and Harmony vibes. This was the radar was a lot higher. Let's just put it that way. The vibe.
The storyline would change the canvas though if they did that.
Like if they were allowed to,
that would set the show on fire right there.
It would definitely ruffle some feathers. I would sit there and say, good and bad. So
that would be a different type of storyline to be that nobody would saw coming. I wouldn't even see it coming.
Can you imagine how Steffi would sit there and react? Ooh, she already didn't like Brooke with her father.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? That would just. I think that might actually be the craziest storyline out of all the four soap operas. That might be among the craziest storylines that they do all year, if they were allowed to do that, of course.
Right. I
In
mean,
a perfect world.
I could just see it now. I could see Stephanie going like, "You're in love with my mother," and then Brooke goes, "Me and Taylor are in love with each other. I am in love with Taylor, and we need to follow our hearts." You normally Brooke would say RJ needs his parents together, but technically, her and Taylor are RJ parents.
Yes, you're right about that.
But I could see Brooke. Brooke always like she's about to cry. She's like, "Taylor and I have been through so much, and we deserve to be in love with each other." I could just see it now. Those little tears that don't come out of Brooke's eyes.
Or when they do, it's like they sat there and just like, gave her some onions to be in her face for like a good 5 minutes and then say, all right, go.
Yeah.
Because there was that one week where she was like crying like almost every day. And I think that was, what was that, New Year's Eve with the whole kissing deacon thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she was crying for like a good almost 2 weeks. So, you know.
This is gonna sound terrible, but when Taylor was on the roof, I kind of wanted her to drop.
Yeah.
I did. I kind of no. Okay, let me explain why. Let me explain why. I like those high stake moments in soaps. I actually wanted her to drop. I want to go. But I realized Sheila was already in too much deep water. They couldn't make it deeper at that point. You gotta give a little bit of room. But I thought what that was gonna happen was they were gonna have a friendship afterwards on Sheila, but they did it for like 2 seconds and they didn't. And I thought that friendship was gonna make Taylor forgive Sheila over time, but they didn't really capitalize on that the way I thought they were going to with the writers. I mean, you were there for that, right? When she was on the roof.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were there for that. Yeah. So I was kind of shocked with that, but I was hoping that she was gonna go.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
I was hoping for it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not shocked by that answer because of the whole Chelsea thing. You were just like, hey, I wanted her to fall. I mean, I didn't want her to hurt herself. I mean, they were like, I don't know, 5 or 8 stories high, but somehow DC thought that she was going to like land on like a flagpole or something like that and just be fine. So that answer did not really surprise me.
Or what they could have done is like she decides to get off the ledge and she falls, and then Billy grabs her, and then we see like the whole like the ground beneath her. And she's like, "Help me, Billy, help me!" Like that would have been kind of good. And that would be like, "Oh my God, is she gonna make it? She's gonna make it?" And she's like, "I can't hold on any longer." Like that would have been because it was kind of like back in 07 when Drusilla and Sharon fall off the cliff. When Sharon was on the cliff with Phyllis, and then Phyllis like, "Hold on, Sharon." And she's like, "I can't hold on." And then Sharon just all of a sudden goes, "Ah." And you can see the stunt double because there's there's some muscle in the thigh. So it was a stunt double that went.
What, Sharon fell?
So yeah, Sharon. So Drusilla fell off the cliff first. She goes, "Ah," and then Sharon goes afterwards. But when Sharon goes, it's Phyllis is trying to pull her up, but she can't. So yeah, it was yeah. But I was hoping for something like that with the Chelsea storyline. I was hoping.
How is Sharon still alive then?
I guess the river pulled her in. Luckily, her contract was still good, so the river. But Victoria Rao's contract wasn't good, so she was presumed dead. That's what happens when you and the network ain't getting along.
It was a lot of stories, a lot of bad blood that happened with Victoria Rowland and pretty much almost everyone in the cast.
That's why I feel like the writing will tell you. I always feel the writing will tell you how they feel about that actor. Like when Nick was doing contract disputes back in 07, 08, all of a sudden he went presumed dead on some Newman jet or something like that. And all of a sudden, when him and CBS reached a deal, he turned up on an island just miraculously. He turned up on an island miraculously. And he was like, "Who am I? Remember who I am?" He remembers because the contract was written right this time. That's why I said with Nicholas, they really did not like Marcus Clune playing him because I knew when the new Nicholas came in, I was like, they're gonna kill him off. I know they're gonna kill him off. I just knew that was happening. I felt the
What happened?
When the new Nicholas came in, last week, the role of Nicholas.
Oh yeah.
Now he played by. Yes. When that happened, I was like, they're gonna kill him off. They're gonna kill him off. They're gonna kill him off because I just see it coming. And then when Ava went, I was like, yep, there it is. It's right on time. Right on time.
Now,
Because
now, do you think that he's dead, or do you think that he's going to come back?
I think they're presuming him dead, and then this is how Baby Spencer is gonna get the baby, and we're gonna see some more conflict between him and Trina. But I think the writers are tired of Nicholas Castine because of MC who played him, and they just want to leave this character to bed. And honestly, when I was watching it with the new recast we have, forgot the man's name. They really tarnished his character. They really just messed up Nicholas to the bone. Like I don't even recognize the character of Nicholas anymore at this point. And so when they came to hold the role of Nicholas Cassadine will now be played by, I was like, yep, yeah, they're gonna kill this man off. Like and I knew the recast was coming, but I didn't know it was this quick. I knew it was coming because I heard the rumblings of it, but I'm like, yeah, I think he's gonna be presumed dead for a while because I don't know, like, I mean, do you feel like Nicholas Cassidy's character is still salvageable?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it really comes down to yeah, definitely. I personally think that he's not going to be dead, because it really just comes down to the writing. You know, yeah, you get a good storyline for this character. You can always bring them back. It's depending if they want to put in the effort to do that. That's what it really comes down to.
Or what they could do, maybe Nicholas
What?
wasn't himself. Maybe he was under some mind control with the guy who was made to look like Nicholas. And the real Nicholas, they find him on Castline Island, and we see him with the bandage up, and it's really Tyler Christopher coming back to us. I could do like a little coming back. He's like, I'm alive. Like, Nicholas, is it really you? Yes. And then he comes back to Port Charles, and that could work.
Oh,
Would
and
you
by
buy
the way,
it?
the actor's name is Adam
Adam
Huss.
Huss. Yeah, Adam Huss. Yeah, I saw that. Adam Huss.
But it's funny too because Nikisha was there saying that that wasn't Nicholas the whole time. It was that other guy. What was his name? Connor Bishop.
Who's Connor Bishop? Who's that?
Connor Bishop was the guy who looked like Nicholas, and I found that. See, right there, Connor Bishop.
Oh my God, where
He
was
was
I
the
during
guy.
the storyline? Where was I? I was under a rock?
He looked like Nicholas for some odd reason, and then it was turned out that Helena like made it that way or whatever. He did something to Emily that you pretty much can't take back. I'm not gonna say what it is, but you know what I'm talking about though.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think Emily wound up killing him.
You know what they could do then is with this Connor Bishop, but the problem is, how did Connor Bishop's his DNA match up with Spencer's during the DNA test that Esme did? How did that work? I want to ignore that part just for the sake of the storyline. I want to ignore it. Sometimes you
Yeah,
have to like ignore some things. Act like you don't remember. You gotta play dumb just to let the storyline go on. Sometimes you got to do that. Wow. Okay. I could work with the Connor Bishop. Maybe it was Connor Bishop. That works.
yeah.
That could
It's
work.
funny too because I felt for a while I knew that Nikisha was not there like just joking around or whatever. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's some truth to her joking around.
Okay, Connor Bishop was 04 to 05. Yeah, I wasn't watching GH at that time because like, who's Connor Bishop? Okay, makes sense.
Oh,
Oh,
you
I
when
didn't
did
start
you
watching
start?
until 06.
Oh, you only started watching '06. Oh,
I think
okay.
it was 04, 05. Yeah, this was before my time, a little before my time. But I honestly thought I was caught up on all past history. Every time I think I'm so caught up on the soap's past, there's always something new I learned all the time. So I didn't know this storyline. They don't even talk
Why?
about it.
Yeah, I no, I thought that you. I forgot when you started watching it.
No, it was 06.
I
But
didn't
you
know
know
when you
what?
started watching it.
Since Tyler Christopher played the role, like he played the Connor Bishop Nicholas thing, if they bring him back, they could use that for flashbacks. So perfect connect. Perfect connect.
Yeah,
Perfect connect. I like that. I agree,
I
Keisha.
still
Perfect
I
connect.
still got to sit there and find that article that I read that Tyler Crystal was coming back.
So it wasn't
I just
real?
what you mean like was it real?
Yeah, that was coming back.
Yeah, I mean that's what I read on Soaps in Depth and online.
And they're pretty
I
credible,
just
Coach in Depth.
yeah, and I just have not had a minute to sit there and like really stop and look it up.
Right. Wow. Okay. So I didn't even know that. I mean, so I think that possibly that could work then doing that. I think that could work if they bring back the Connor Bishop.
If they go that route, I can. Polka Dot is in the chat. Was good, Polka Dots. By the way, follow her on Instagram. Her beats are amazing. The hell was I was going to sit there and say? Also, because I couldn't pronounce her name for like the entire chat. But yeah, no, yeah, no, if they did kind of vicious storyline, it would be pretty great. I'll sit
Right.
there and say,
Right, because I was, honestly, I like if they could bring back that type of storyline, I think that would be amazing. It'll give us a little bit of like some closure. It'll give us some closure with the Nicholas thing because the way they've been writing it has not been the best.
my issue is that I don't know. I mean, granted, I have to sit there and look at how he died. But you know what? You know what's really sad, Tom? They could just sit there and just retcon stuff. It's not the first time they didn't sit there and retcon a situation or storyline to sit there and fit whatever needs that they're doing and whatever storylines they're doing. So even if he died like a gruesome death or whatever, they can just sit there and retcon it.
Right.
They'll just retcon it. So now I think we kind of covered we covered actually all the soap operas. We really did. I, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should mute myself. Okay, sorry, I'm still here.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure that your audio didn't get cut off or whatever. But before we do sit there and wrap this up, I think it's because they usually have like a question or something like that to kind of wrap it up at the end of these reviews. So anything that you want to sit there and say before we go?
Just say me in the chat.
Huh? No, you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be interested to see how the rest of this week goes. Sorry, I have some noise in the background. It's distracting me a little bit. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna be interested to see how this rest of the week with soaps goes. This whole Nicholas storyline, like I said, has been absolutely just terrible. So I'm hoping they're able to do something with it. And it's my hope that the Portia storyline, they revisit that and they're able to do something with it and be able to develop that out. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna see how that goes. But other than that, yeah, we're gonna see how that goes.
Okay. Uh, I think that the wedding reveal might be really good if they don't drop the ball. If they don't drop the ball, it's definitely going to be worth watching because they've been building on this storyline for a hot minute as far as this whole Trina thing.
Yeah.
I think this was like maybe 2 years in the making. It might have been 2 years in the making because we did have the other Jordan before this one.
Right.
Then there was that 3 or 4 months gap.
I think that Phyllis is Portia's mother. I don't know. That's a big theory I'm going with here, but I really feel like the writers are planting seeds in case they want to go that route 2 years from now.
You don't think it's going to be? What about Stella and Curtis? You think that Stella's going to be Curtis' mom?
I think so too. I think that's another seed they're planting that they're not using right now, but they plan to use it later on. That's what I think. That's definitely what I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, this month is supposed to be Sweeps Week. Is it Sweeps month or is it Sweeps week?
Month. It's for the month.
Okay. Well, they kind of lacking so far, but in certain areas they're doing pretty good. In other areas they could be doing better. So hopefully this month as far as sweeps doesn't disappoint us like last year did. I don't know about you, but last year their sweeps month
I can't
was.
remember what happened last year. Like, what did happen last year?
It was that forgettable. It was that forgettable.
Right.
It was that forgettable.
Right.
But yeah, I think the only other positive thing I would sit there and say, just as far as the people in the chat, I just want to thank everyone for joining. I mean, this was a lot of fun. It was definitely an unexpected week. I got DC in the live stream, so I was very happy about that. We getting celebrities that's dropping in. We get honestly, to tell you the truth, in a lot of ways, even Polka Dots or Polka Dot Beats. It's kind of a celebrity in itself. So thank you for joining. But I want to thank everyone here just for coming to the stream, liking, and just really just being amazing and very chill. I think we have a really good group of people. that we could sit there and talk or whatever, debate stuff, and not get to a point where it just gets out of hand and we start name calling and stuff. Because this is it's a soap opera, it's fiction, and we just gotta sit there and just glad everyone is chill. So thank you, everyone. But I think that's actually going to do it. I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank DC Soap Sanctuary for joining us, for gracing us with his presence. He got a lot of stuff that's going on outside. He's doing some big things. So, I want to personally thank you for joining. I know we were supposed to sit there and do this for like an hour. We're like an hour and a half over, like usual.
We didn't go to like 10:30, so this is actually better timing actually than we normally do.
That's very true.
Yeah,
I think we used to actually start around like 9 o'clock or whatever, and then it'll be like 11:30 because then we would talk afterwards. So, and then no one would go to sleep on time. But,
exactly. Boston Enterprise is not playing about its time at all.
but thank you everyone for joining. This was so much fun. Sorry I can't sit there and interact with people that much in chat, but you know how I do it when I have another person, another I don't want to sit there and say co-host because that's just the meaning, but somebody else in the chat, another YouTuber or whatever. But Monday through Friday, I'm always giving everyone my undivided attention. So thank you for joining. Stay safe, and we will both see you in the next video, live stream, and everything in between.
We'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye guys.